Okay, the next piece of our agenda is probably the one that is the most important, and that's an opportunity we have today to hear from someone very special in our city, Mayor Pete Lewis. He is someone that doesn't need much of an introduction here with the Chamber. Mayor Lewis and the City of Auburn have been strong partners in creating a welcoming atmosphere for businesses to prosper in our Auburn area. Today we are pleased to have Mayor Lewis here with us to provide us with an update on the progress and plans for downtown Auburn. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Lewis to the podium.
Now, I'm not saying this automatically is going to be that dry. I'm just not taking any chances. Now, the last time I was here, I said that this was probably going to be the longest speech I ever made. And it certainly will, because I don't intend to ever do that again. When we had the State of the City, oh my goodness, that went on forever. This isn't going to be like that. Guaranteed. But I have to admit, it's hard to really contain my excitement about what's happening in our little city. And I say it's little because to me, and I know to many of you, it still feels like a place where you know your neighbors, be a part of something that matters, and dream great dreams. It's a place with great parks and other features that make it so livable and help maintain the link to our small town heritage. At the same time, it's a place with some of the finest attributes of a large metropolitan area, with our symphony and other great entertainment options, like where we're at here today at Emerald Downs. It's a city that's transforming itself to recapture its livability downtown and provide a catalyst for the whole area to allow for development to the north, to the south, all over our city. We're proud of that transformation that is underway, and we're looking forward to ways to tell our story. With this article that just has come out with the Puget Sound Business Journal's Puget Sound Profile that you all have on your tables here today. This publication will be distributed to about 20,000 subscribers at the end of the month. But surveys by the national media show that the journal has more than 117,000 weekly readers because it tends to be passed around from one person to another, especially in business offices. And like their annual book of lists, the Puget Sound Profile should also have a little bit more shelf time in individual copies of a weekly paper. Now, the downtown plan image and downtown projects are something that we've been working on and developing since the Chamber, the Downtown Committee, the Auburn Downtown Association, civic leaders, the school district, and other groups came forward to put together a vision for Auburn's downtown redevelopment. In addition to that, the Economic Development Strategies document developed in 2005 by the Chamber of Commerce and others identified key redevelopment areas throughout the city, including downtown Auburn. As all of you know, the transformation is underway. Here's the new civic parking garage, an Auburn Regional Medical Center Oncology Center, a $9.4 million project that should be completed in October. In addition, here is Jeff Oliphant's $6.5 million Auburn Professional Plaza, which is slated to be completed in early November. And in that regard, I have some great news. Now, for some of you, what I have to offer might not be news. But with so much going on here today and in the world around us, sometimes we get so much thrown at us that we're on information overload. For those who've heard this already, consider this information as simply another acknowledgement of our joint success. The LIFT bill. Now, LIFT stands for Local Infrastructure Financing Tool, which is Olympia speak morphed into the Local Revitalization Financing Bill, was passed this session and will provide $250,000 a year for 25 years. Now, that's bonding capacity for approximately $6 million for our downtown revitalization. In September, we'll be having a public forum to discuss the use of this money for the downtown redevelopment. We'll discuss what infrastructure it will help fix, and we'll talk about what it means in terms of disrupting traffic during construction. You might have noticed a little bit of traffic disruption in our downtown recently, and there's more to come. Our goal is to get $3 million in time to start design work next spring. If we started now, you couldn't park in downtown with all the construction going on, but that is a good thing. The fact that we were able to get this bill passed through this last session, where the legislature was intently focused on having to deal with a huge budget deficit in the billions of dollars, is nothing short of a miracle. But miracles can happen. We're living proof. And when human beings are involved, they usually require a tremendous amount of hard work and persistence. In this case, the hard work and the persistence provided in large member by many people in the room. This chamber, in particular, the City Council, city staff, the Downtown Association, School District, and many others were a part of all this work. Often what tips the scales, though, is a champion. And in this case, we had a champion who would not be denied. State Representative Pat Sullivan. Pat Sullivan, would you please stand and accept the thanks of us all? Now, I remember sitting in my office early last year, and Representative Sullivan came in and said, we are going to get that through. We are going to get the LIFT legislation done for the city of Auburn. And I have to admit, I was a little laid back in my chair, and I appreciate that, and thank you so much. And he kept on coming back, and he kept on moving forward. And when the legislature went into session, he was pushing that forward. He was literally pushing a giant boulder uphill, but this time he got the boulder to the top, and I will always appreciate it. Thank you. Now, like so many other things that come from government, there's a few strings attached, but none that should present much of a problem. One of the requirements, though, is a match. Now, that $6 million we talk about was $3 million coming from the state and $3 million coming from us. And that brings me to a second piece of good news. Final approval of a $3 million grant from the Federal Economic Development Administration. Notice how those two figures line up. $3 million from the feds, $3 million from the state, each requiring a 50% match. Each satisfies the other without any commitment of local dollars. The EDA grant process started with the Puget Sound Regional Council, which many of you know as the regional planning agency for King, Kitsap, Pierce, and Snohomish counties. Ours was one of 2 projects approved for that 4-county region. The pre-application got the okay from Washington, D.C., and we're submitting our final application now to the EDA for the grant funding. This money will be directed to build the promenade for the Auburn Junction, another important project in the redevelopment of our downtown. And we have our master developer here with us today, Spence Albert. Spence, would you please stand? Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Now, with the LIFT bill, it's now starting to be known as the LRF, L-R-F. I'm going to have a little trouble getting used to LRF, but if I can get used to VRF, I guess I can get used to anything. But the LIFT bill and the EDA grant, with that, the $240 million Auburn Junction project is moving from concept stage into action. Given all the other activities downtown, the economic development climate beginning to show signs of moving slowly toward resurgence, we are likely to see some of the old buildings coming down for this project this next winter and designed for construction starting in 2010. Now, our guys at First Western tell us that the hotel groups and retailers are very interested in the project, and we've been moving forward toward leasing already. As some of you may know, during the resolution of the court case recently, the Kavanaugh property downtown, may be coming up for sale. We wish that family well, that family of pioneers who's worked so hard in our community, and we hope that they do well, and we can hope to continue to partner with them. And that's a vital piece that could be jump-starting the Auburn Junction too. That site was originally permitted for a hotel. This transformation is about making Auburn a more livable, accessible, and vibrant place. But it's also about economic vitality. The Auburn Junction alone is projected in a very thorough economic analyst to generate more than $187 million in revenue to the city over the next 30 years. There's even more great news coming out of this year's legislative session. You recall that 1 year ago, July 1st, 2008, streamlined sales tax went into effect, which meant most of the sales tax we used to receive for our industrial, warehouse, and distribution business stopped cold forever. That took more than $200,000 a month out of the city's budget, the general fund budget, that fund that used to be used to pay for service, and made it much more difficult to support the services we must provide and pursue efforts like downtown revitalization. Yes, there's a mitigation plan that provides for partial reimbursement, but even that was in serious jeopardy as one of the items on the cut list when the legislature convened last January. But the city went directly to the governor, and I'm proud to say that Governor Gregoire remembered her Auburn roots and pushed to keep that money secure in the budget. The result is a $2.6 million for this city that otherwise we would have to cut out of our already tight budget. So what's coming up next for us? A lot. In keeping with the city's spirit of working together for the common good, the Citizens Task Force on Arterial Streets, led by this chamber, is working on a great initial plan for making our city even more family, pedestrian, retail, and residential friendly. And I have to tell you, this is really cool stuff. Now, that's my technical phrase for all of it. Yeah, that's kind of appropriate. They are working so hard. I walk into these committee meetings, and every single time I've walked away with something new, some idea, some solution that had never even been talked about before. This group is working forward, and they are so focused on what they're doing. They're doing an outstanding job, and I appreciate every one of their efforts. And the plans for our arterial streets and freight and commuter corridors will put all the 18-wheelers on 167 and I-5 that used to come through our city on a commute and take them off our city streets, put them back on the freeways where we need them to be. This would not be possible without the cooperation of the trucking companies, who are especially to be congratulated for being a part and working on this effort. The end result will help preserve roads longer, will save on the wear and tear and the cost, and will enhance everyone's ability to get through and do business in downtown Auburn and the surrounding community. I really do appreciate the Chamber's work you have done and will continue to do. It's a great example of the business community leading an important community effort in giving city officials and staff who work for all of you the direction we need. But that's not all. There's another project on the horizon. It's a $13 million, 22,000 square foot community center and 8,000 square foot activity center at Lesko Park, our community park, that will start construction in January and be linked to downtown by our new pedestrian trail. This is another project for which we've been able to tap funds not from the city's general fund budget, no city taxpayer dollars. Instead, we'll be able to take advantage of federal government tax credit and community development block grant dollars to finance the entire project. The Community Center Study Group started 8 years ago, and I think that's maybe the third community center group that started 8 years ago, because I think they were having study sessions in the mid-'80s. And finally, this upcoming year, they're going to take action. We have another brand new effort that's going to take place in our town. It's called a barrier-free playground, which would allow all children, regardless of ability, to play side by side in a place where compassion and acceptance flourish. We are working with our 501c partner, Northwest Parks Foundation, and seeking donations through the grants, businesses, individuals, service clubs, and others with a goal of raising $300,000. This is a true amenity for Auburn with a regional reach. Now we still have other projects as well. First of all, the Super Walmart, and that's an additional 210,000 square foot Super Walmart planned just north of the theaters at Super Mall. That area, that big mound of dirt that you see, is soon to come down. Building permits are approved. Site construction is ready to begin. We just talked to the mall this morning and verified they're bringing in one more piece that they need for a lot line adjustment, and they're ready to go. Next slide. With these three great projects, combined with Green River Community College's new 80,000 square foot humanities and social science wing that they just broke ground on last month, Auburn has more major construction going on right now than almost all other cities in the Puget Sound region. That's happening right here today. We're also nearing completion of the pedestrian trail on A Street underneath Highway 18 that will help connect this community again. This project was paid for with a state grant. In other cities around the region, major projects are stalled or have been abandoned. But here we've got so much going on, and there's still more on the way. Several years ago, the people of this great city created and committed to a vision for the city's vision and future called Auburn Vision 2016. There's a lot left to do, but I tell you, we are making great strides. We are marketing Auburn as a regional entertainment center, and it is being viewed as such by both King and Pierce counties. We are making Auburn's urban center more pedestrian and friendly. We have completed the City Hall Plaza master plan and improving and expanding public parking opportunities. We are revitalizing and redeveloping the downtown area, to name just the few steps that we're taking. The people who participated in the visioning process looked at the city not only as it was at the time, but as it had been in the past, and as they imagined it could be and should be into the future. They imagined, they planned, and they worked. Many of them are in this room today. I see your faces all around the room. And then they went to work to make sure it would happen. All of you here today are here because you're leaders. And today I'm proud to say that because of your efforts, your persistence, and your hard work, the city of Auburn is well on its way to achieving its vision and becoming even more than you imagined. Thank you.